Subscribe to Bizbo and press the bell icon. See boring news turn into enjoyable stories. No MP, no MLA, just one solitary councillor in Mumbai's BMC. But the name is a heavyweight and he's back from oblivion. Raj Thackeray has rebranded his party and himself, leading the Hindutva charge against his cousin Uddhav Thackeray, whom the BJP is trying to label as not Hindu enough, because he is tolerating loudspeakers from mosques but opposing the chanting of Hanuman Chalisa, a position the Shiv Sena rank and file is finding hard to find fault with. Fearing alienation of Hindu votes, Aditya Thackeray is in a rush to visit the Ram Mandir before Raj in order to prove his Hindutva credentials. The tug of war is truly on for India's richest municipal body, Mumbai's BMC, that has a budget of 45,000 crore, $7 billion. And the contestants are Maharashtra's Mahavikas Aghadi coalition government versus the powerful BJP. 3 years back during the assembly elections, the lineup was different, with Uddhav Thackeray being on the other side. But after fighting over the chief minister's post, the BJP was dumped by an unlikely alliance of former foes, a story which we did in some detail. Now, as the municipal elections for Mumbai and 20 other corporations draw near, and with an eye on the upcoming assembly elections scheduled in 2024, the BJP has come out with all guns firing, seeking to take no prisoners this time. Their game plan is to use constitutional authorities available at their disposal to expose and defame the MVA government. And their key players are Maharashtra Governor B.S. Koshyari, the Enforcement Directorate, CBI, for the glamour quotient Kangana Ranaut, and a Thackeray, Raj. Aligned against them are the mighty Marathas, Sharad Pawar and his allies Uddhav Thackeray and Rahul Gandhi, who have effective offences options themselves, like the police force and the municipal authorities. The story began when BJP appointed their loyalist Bhagat Singh Koshyari in anticipation of a win just weeks before the 2019 Maharashtra Assembly elections. When that didn't happen, the governor played his part in a questionably constitutional maneuver that saw Fadnavis and Ajit Pawar being sworn in as Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister in an early morning coup. But when that too failed and Uddhav was selected CM, he had to be nominated to the Legislative Council as he had not contested elections. However, Koshyari did not cooperate and halted the process for months. It took the intervention of the Prime Minister himself.
Hello, Modi ji.
Before Koshyari finally relented. Meanwhile, actor Kangana Ranaut, who was disinvited to Mumbai after mocking its police force,
why Mumbai is feeling like Pakistan occupied Kashmir?
Then taunted the Shiv Sena when they protested her comparison,
Jo ukhadna hai ukhad lo.
did exactly that by bulldozing part of her house through the corporation, claiming she had made illegal alterations. Lo, ukhad diya. Despite this, she was personally hosted by Koshyari at Governor House in a bid to embarrass the MVA government. Uddhav too retaliated against the governor in ways that he constitutionally could, by curtailing his power in appointing vice-chancellors of universities, by denying him use of a government aircraft, forcing him to fly cattle class with regular folks, and by sloganeering during his speech, forcing him to walk out of the assembly. Koshyari retaliated by blocking the appointment of a new speaker, claiming it to be
Sub Judice.
Meanwhile, the strong arms of the law at the centre's disposal began searching for chinks in the MVA's armour. And they found their opening when the then MVA Home Minister Anil Deshmukh was accused by the then Commissioner of Police Parambir Singh.
Collect 100 crore of hafta every month.
This was a fallout of rogue Inspector Sachin Wazi's attempt to plant bombs below Ambani's residence in a movie-style plot, both of which are covered in our earlier stories. Meanwhile, Rashmi Shukla, Commissioner of the State Intelligence Department, began to misuse her authority by tapping phones of senior ministers. There, she stumbled over what some might call gold by overhearing officers lobbying with Anil Deshmukh for lucrative postings in Maharashtra. A report of which she submitted to Sitaram Kunte, the state's additional chief secretary, in August 2020. But somehow, 6.1 GB of these transcripts, either willfully or by deceit, found its way to the BJP, allowing Fadnavis to mount his assault.
Uddhav Thackeray already knew of corruption in transfer postings, but he did not take any action against Deshmukh.
Meanwhile, Vaze, in his statement to the ED, gave them another name to go after.
Anil Parab also. He and Deshmukh both took 20 crore for reversing transfers of 10 DCPs.
While that could not be proved, what could was that Parab's resort in Dapoli was illegally built without environmental permissions and was notified to be demolished. The attacks intensified when senior Shiv Sena leader Sanjay Raut was unable to block the ED from provisionally attaching 11.5 crore worth of his property, even though the evidence against his wife Varsha was flimsy thin that she had taken a 55 lakh interest-free loan from a builder's wife. The builder was also a Raut, Praveen Raut, though no relation, but had allegedly sold off property meant for redevelopment to private builders for over 1,000 crore. Targeting Raut is like pointing a gun at the center of the MVA alliance, as Raut is its chief architect.
Shiv Sena ko chukega nahi sala.
Like Raut is for Shiv Sena, Kirit Somaiya is to the BJP. And he is going around nicknaming the 12 alleged tainted MVA leaders the Dirty Dozen. One of them, Nawab Malik, who had been vociferous in defending Aryan Khan in the non-existent drug bust and had begun targeting BJP-linked elements behind the operation, was arrested for money laundering for buying a property in 2005 at a throwaway price. But the charges of dealing with a front man for terrorist Dawood Ibrahim's sister Hasina Parkar was serious enough for him to remain behind bars. However, NCP leader Praful Patel was not similarly treated for his buying a property of another wanted gangster, Iqbal Mirchi. Nor Ajit Pawar, despite a sugar mill allegedly linked to him that was found involved in a 65 crore Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank scam. The BJP has completely avoided directly going after Sharad Pawar, as the leader with a mass base can one day become a key BJP ally. But just about everyone else in the MVA government is a target. Even the Thackeray family, which until now was untouchable. Uddhav Thackeray's brother-in-law, Sridhar Patankar's properties were attached in a PMLA case. It seems the adage of a man-to-man fight no longer remains.
Why target my family members? If you want to send someone to jail, arrest me.
Another close-eyed Yashwant Jadhav, leader of the house in the BMC, had to rack his brains to wriggle out of a diary entry that showed
2 crore given to Matoshri.
Now Matoshri has been the Thackeray family bungalow since the days of its founder Bal Thackeray, but it could mean he gave money to them. But Mata also means mother, and Shri is a formal way of showing respect.
I gave it to my mother, Matoshri.
Clever, but not clever enough, as the IT department attached several of his properties, far in excess of 5 crore. The confiscation of 112 of Pratap Sarnaik's plots were not related to this battle, but of an older investigation into the NSCL issue. In a counter-attack, Shiv Sena went after Devendra Fadnavis for leaking the Rashmi Shukla tapes, a breach of sensitive information. And against the former Sena Chief Minister Narayan Rane, who had jumped ship to the BJP before the 2019 assembly elections. Rane's Juhu home was given a notice by the BMC to demolish the 4 illegal floors he had built in his 8-floor bungalow. His running to the court helped as they gave him a reprieve.
First decide on the regularization application.
BJP leader in Maharashtra Praveen Darekar had his old files of 1997 dug out, in which it was found that he had falsely claimed to be a labourer only to get a lucrative posting in the Mumbai District Cooperative Bank. So, what's the end game for the BJP? Are they trying to destabilize the MVA government and make it fall? In all probabilities, no. They are trying to paint them as corrupt, inefficient, lazy and not dedicated enough to the Hindutva cause, in a hope that some of the dirt will stick and in the upcoming elections, they can ride to power on their own. Bizbo's Limerick. Delhi is captured, Mumbai is next. By hook or by crook, they will not let it rest. Below the belt are the punches being felt. Whatever happens, this is a big test. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.